Groundhog Day is a 1993 romantic comedy about Bill Murray repeating the same unpleasant day until he achieves perfection. The movie is widely beloved. We like watching Bill Murray quit being such a jerk via existential nightmare. We like the idea so much that we've made lots more movies with basically the same premise in different genres. For instance, the 2017 Happy Death Day is Groundhog Day, but a self-aware 80s slasher. A college student is murdered over and over by the same masked maniac until she goes full Sarah Connor. The 2014 Edge of Tomorrow is Groundhog Day, but a sci-fi thriller. Tom Cruise dies in combat against aliens, but because he killed a really big alien, he gets to keep dying until he kills the biggest alien. If you haven't heard of Edge of Tomorrow, you may have heard of Live, Die, Repeat. See, the movie didn't do too well in theaters, so to rebrand, it got a new title when it hit store shelves. Isn't that delightfully meta? The movie itself woke up anew to try again. But it didn't help much. Edge of Tomorrow remains a hidden, underrated gem. In contrast, Happy Death Day got a whole sequel, which went bonkers with the campiness of the original. The college student gets re-Groundhog Day'd in an alternate quantum cyclic dimension or something. Given all these movies, it's safe to say that Groundhog Day is itself being Groundhog Day'd. You and I sometimes get consensually Groundhog Day'd for fun. In video games, we live, die, repeat, and enjoy it. If you're a better gamer than I am, you improve over time to complete objectives, save, and stop looping. Likewise, in Groundhog Day, Bill Murray gets to leave the cycle when he has a perfect day, nailing every little thing. In Happy Death Day, the college student can't stop looping until they learn to get along with their dad after the death of their mom. In Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise stops time cycling just when he's ready to complete his mission in one attempt at the risk of actual death. But in basically all these movies, the experience of getting Groundhog Day'd is generally unpleasant, and the victim can't wait for it to end. In Groundhog Day, Bill Murray kills himself and poor little Punxsutawney Phil for a whole montage. Tom Cruise is just straight up not having a good time. In Happy Death Day, the cycle of life and death is literally presented with a horror aesthetic. But in Happy Death Day 2U, the college student has fun dying in new, interesting ways. I guess the meta-commentary, intentional or not, is that there are so many movies with this premise that absurdism like Happy Death Day 2U was bound to happen. Still, it's not surprising that time loops appear in horror. This is sort of tangentially related, but check out these two shorts. In Masters of Horror episode Jennifer, a guy saves a disfigured girl from another guy.
Go away! You don't know what she is! You have no idea!
But the guy realizes that the disfigured girl is actually a cat-devouring monster. And when he's about to put her down, another guy saves her from him. Compare that to Love, Death, and Robots episode The Witness. A girl sees a guy murder someone, and the guy starts chasing her. The girl is eventually cornered, but she kills the guy just in time to see someone else get entirely the wrong impression, and she has to chase him to explain herself. In both of these episodes, there's no implied beginning or end to the cycle of misunderstanding. There's no way for anyone to improve themselves out. That's the horror. The scariest example I can think of is 2012's Resolution, about a guy who handcuffs his meth addict friend to a radiator to clean him up. They start getting videos of themselves being beaten to death. There's a Lovecraftian horror in the vicinity, and it uses townsfolk to make violent stories. When our heroes weakly meet the Lovecraftian horror, they ask,
"Can we try it another way?"
And the movie ends. To me, this implies Resolution is just one movie among countless many, and none of them are feel-good romantic comedies.
When I stare up and look into the infinite, I see a film.
A film?
A membrane, the layer And behind it is another, and another, and another. Do you see?
The folks who made Resolution made another movie, 2017's The Endless, about two brothers who escaped a cult when they were young. Their cult sends them a video which just screams, "We're planning a mass suicide," so obviously the brothers decide to visit. There, they find people trapped in short, violent death cycles, including the two protagonists from Resolution. The cult members are looking forward to joining these cycles to please their Lovecraftian deity, but the brothers manage to escape before they're sucked in. The Endless doesn't advertise itself as a successor to Resolution, so when the protagonists show up, the audience has to wonder if viewing these disturbing films is the audience being trapped in a loop. Or are we, the Lovecraftian horror, being entertained and demanding more?
Can we try it another way? Please.
Horror movies make getting Groundhog Day'd an inescapable torment. In comparison, other movies use Groundhog Days as a sort of It's a Wonderful Life mechanism, forcing characters to realize their place in the world. But Resolution and The Endless are so twisted and paranoid because they're about a drug addict coming clean, and cultists escaping their past. Bill Murray gets off comparatively easy because he's just coming to terms with being a butthead. Ultimately, these movies are about the struggle to improve. If the struggle is fruitless, it's certainly horror. If the struggle pays off, it can be a rom-com. In Happy Death Day to You, the college student is disappointed to learn that her Groundhog Day in the first film was just a science experiment gone wrong, instead of a super special Hollywood opportunity to overcome the death of her mother. But when she's Groundhog Day'd by another science experiment gone very wrong, she's in a universe where her mom is still alive. She finds it difficult to leave, so breaking the cycle this time implies an even deeper emotional resolution. It doesn't matter how the narrative justifies the looping. The justification was always just an excuse. We all wish we could try again. Maybe a single day we were a prick. Maybe a whole battle against aliens. Maybe, like in 1999's Galaxy Quest, just 13 seconds. But we can't try again for real, so we make fiction to remind us that the second best option is improving over time. That's our Groundhog Day. There are many, many more examples I could point to. I started this episode because I saw Russian Doll on Netflix about a pair of losers who get Groundhog Day'd until they find themselves by saving each other. 2012's Looper features an old man who wants to change things he did as a young man, but the young man sacrifices himself for the sake of a young boy. We write these stories again and again without a trace of irony. Maybe I decided to make this video because quarantine is getting to me. I'll admit, I can relate when a character wakes up in the same time and place for the umpteenth time in a row. But more likely, I'm just thinking too much again. It's all I do here at Thinkster. As a hobby, I'm working on a generative adversarial network. It's fun telling a machine to do the same thing over and over again, getting a little better each time. A GAN involves two networks improving each other in sort of a Russian doll scenario. To avoid model claps, the discriminator trains against content generated by the last few generations of the generator, which I like to liken to the psychic kid in Looper learning from two failed generations at once. In The Endless, the cultists use their looping lives to practice tasks until they're perfect, but my GAN ain't so hot yet. I'll make a video about it soon. Bye-bye.